What is the concept? Who is the cast? Where do we start? How do we leave? Where do we go? How do we lose? And where do we end up? With just these 7 questions in mind, I, Aloney, and my friend Scott will create a story as fast as we can. Enjoy the mess. Try not to cancel us. We're good boys. Okay, am I lagging at all, or can you hear me?
Well, say something again.
I'm speaking, talking a lot, saying the words and singing a song. Do, 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 do. Yeah.
I think you're doing all right.
Okay. So we just watched Tremors 2, 3, and 4,
Uh-huh.
and we're ready. We're gonna write us a fucking Tremors. We're gonna do it.
Yes.
I believe in our writing ability.
We can do this.
Okay, so first things first. What kind of Tremors are we gonna make here? I wrote down all the elements of Tremors while we were watching. So there's one location that is like a main base, and then there's a couple sub locations where they're discovering stuff.
Right.
And then there's a small but diverse cast with like distinct personalities. So there's always usually the same families are in it, but like with different characters.
Oh, well, yeah. Certainly one, 3, and 4, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, there's always Bert, and then there's always a Chang, and then some woman with red hair, usually.
Yep.
And like who's always unrelated.
Yeah, not quite.
And then random other person.
Yep.
And then there's always an older Mexican man who almost dies.
Yeah, I'm not sure if those are related, but yeah. Or like
Yeah.
like literally if they're like if that's supposed to be like his great grandpa or something.
Yeah. But yeah, it's usually the story of Burt Gummel or an ancestor of his or a descendant or whatever.
Yeah.
And they are gun-toting badass or not and trying to become.
Yep.
And they're always prepared, but not for what they expect.
Yes.
They're the opposite of Batman, where every time they have, Batman always has something up his sleeve to solve the problem. They always have something up their sleeve that doesn't solve it.
Yeah. They have something that they think will solve the problem, and it doesn't always work.
Yeah. And it's usually really funny.
Yes.
And then there's usually like a solid romance in there that's like a sub thing that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I think the fourth one's romance was kind of meh, but the best one was probably the second one's romance.
Yeah, the Playboy.
The pinup girl. And then it turns out it's her at the end. That was pretty great.
Yeah, that's fun. And yeah, there's like you get the sense early on.
Yeah. They have chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. They have
legit chemistry, and then at the end it is a reveal that she happens to be his dream girl.
Yeah.
But it's not like he was with her because she was his dream girl. It's because after they realized, oh wow, that's a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's always an element of greed and hubris. There's always somebody trying to make money, where it be like the mogul comes into town and fucks shit up.
Right, yeah.
Or there's the people who own the shop are always looking for an angle.
Okay.
And then all the people who aren't looking for money are looking for fame.
There's often an offer to like capture one of these things alive. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Or they have to give up everything to not fight the thing.
Right.
And then there's the hubris of they always think they can take it down, and then it changes.
Yep.
And then they can't take it down. And then they take it down with everybody. And there's always a happy ending.
Yeah.
Except someone will die, and they're probably a nobody, and then somebody important might almost die or die.
Yeah.
And then there's a happy ending.
Yep.
And there's always an element of mystery, horror, and most importantly, guns.
Yes. Especially
there's big ones.
If we have to make a movie, there's probably a good chance it has to include Burt Gummer. And if it includes Burt Gummer, it's going to have guns.
Yeah, and the guns definitely are a big part of it. And there's always that speech of the names of all the different guns.
Oh, yeah.
And then they always do the reload montage thing where they're setting up a plan. And then there's always explosions, whether it be a building or a barrel of something or like a big gun.
Yep.
There's some kind of bomb that's going to go off.
Yeah.
And then also one of those things has to explode.
Yeah. One of the
One of the
graboids
Tremors.
or, I guess,
Yeah, or whatever it is.
Shriekers, ass blasters.
Even with the Shriekers, yeah. Like, they blew up Tremors, and then they blew up the Shriekers.
Yep.
And then the ass blasters, they literally made it blow itself up.
Yep. It's already got the chemicals. It just, needs...
Yeah, and they blew up his house.
Oh, yeah.
And they did the crazy shit in 2 where he was inside of it.
That was 3, with the graboid.
Yeah, I always mix them up. But yeah, it's America out the asshole. It's all about... It's all about guns, explosions, standing your ground, and putting nature in its place, and not underestimating your enemy of animal.
Yeah, don't do that.
There's a degree of respect with the animal, but also a degree of let's blow it up and then sell its body parts for a bunch of money.
Yeah, something like yeah. We can respect the fact that the graboids are intelligent. They're always thinking. Yes, they're always learning.
But also, this is America and capitalism, and you can always make a quick buck on a tragedy.
And just, it's either me or you, and, you're a giant worm.
And they respect El Blanco in the end.
Yeah.
They don't kill him.
Yeah.
He's their little pet.
Yeah.
Because you can domesticate it, then you don't have to kill
Well,
him.
he's not so much domesticated. It's just like, they keep him contained, sort of.
Yeah, I think the show is basically them domesticating him.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't think they ever get to, but that's the plan.
Yeah, he's just a resident graboid, yeah.
Yeah, he's what keeps the town around.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're just going to be sold to ranchettes, I guess.
First movie, big budget movie, Kevin Bacon, ensemble. Then they went to the second one, bigger and better. But it seems like it has a lower budget, even though they managed to make it bigger and better.
Yeah.
And it became kind of B movie, and then 3 becomes full B movie.
I mean, it was always B movie, but yeah, it does. It does definitely there's more. It keeps going.
Yeah, and then 4 is like, okay, we have no more ideas. We'll do a prequel.
Yeah. And
where they show how the graboids grow from baby to adult.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. You get a sense of their life cycle.
Yeah, and then they did 2 movies that I haven't seen that you say are bad.
Yeah, they're not good. It's kind of like I just mentioned, they go into the life cycle, and they, in the 5th one, they say, no, these graboids are more evolved, and they skip the Shriekers and go right to ass blasters. And I didn't mention this to you, but they redesigned the graboids and the ass blasters. The graboids, they're not great, or I don't know, I don't know if they're really bad per se, but the ass blasters, the ass blasters just look like generic monsters now. They got bat wings, and they've got the mandibles that the graboids and Shriekers ass blasters have.
Yeah.
It gives them some resemblance. The ass blasters in new ones don't have that. I don't know why.
Weird.
I don't get it.
So I've come up with a new system for writing that I want to run by you with this new chart I made that is totally going to solve all of the problems and is totally not just a bunch of random arbitrary bullshit that doesn't work. The big question is, where are we going to put the setting of this thing? I've come up with 3 ideas from our conversations. Idea 1, in the future, where they're looking, it's full, ridiculous, C-movie level, right? Ridiculous. And it's they're looking for oil in a futuristic city built around it. Graboids have been there for so long that they made even stronger oil because they fossilized.
Yeah, which isn't how it really works, but just roll with it. They're sci-fi monsters.
Yeah, and the idea being that there's an entire city where perfection was, and now there's graboids running around the city, which is tempting, but a little bit over the top, and I don't know if that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
I had another idea, which was to do it in a modern age, but I don't know how that would be any different than the old one.
Kind of depends on the setting. The other movies, try to branch out a little bit.
Well, I was thinking if I did, there's 2 clear options. Another prequel that we were thinking, which is the crazy idea, and then the other one was a very practical, down-to-earth reboot where it's just their grandkids, and it's modern-day perfection, and it's the same town, and nothing's changed, and they haven't seen a graboid in 30 years, and then bam, they're back. And they're like, "Oh, Grandpa Gummer, you don't know what you're talking about. Those aren't real."
Yep.
Even though
Yeah.
they captured live ones in
Yeah.
the last one.
Yeah. He mounted. He has a
Yeah, one of them
taxidermy
on his
one.
wall, and then they have fucking shriekers. No, they have full on the ass blasters, like in cages. They feed them,
Right.
and they have like a petting zoo.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not, or maybe just like, oh man, yeah, the graboids weren't really. Yeah, those have been dead for 20 so, or actually 40 or so years now.
Yeah, you'd have to jump forward and do all that. And
Yeah.
I think the best idea we have is the Pirate Island one,
Yeah.
which is so ridiculous and stupid that it might work.
Yeah. I'm a little dismayed because looking on Wikipedia, I think I do see like, they are making another one, and the title does seem to be Island Fury, but I'm doubting they're going for a pirate saying though, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, I bet it's like we're gonna go. Like it's definitely like Bert is on an island. Like they're on islands this time, Bert. How are we
Hell,
gonna get them?
they could be talking about Australia for all we know.
Yeah. So we came up with some great jokes while we were watching it about buried treasure, and how at the
Oh
end
yeah.
they could bury the eggs underground.
Yeah. Because and in the fourth one, they're discovering like, oh, we like poured all the hot water out this way, and here's where the eggs were. What if they were buried there?
Yeah. So the idea is that a way a tremor works is it's a baby, and then it's really small at first after it comes out of an egg, and it grows very fast.
Yeah.
And it showed in the time in that it takes a month and a half for them to reach full size.
Oh yeah.
So they start out as like an egg-shaped larva, and then they go to full size in a month. And then they eat, and after they've eaten enough, then they molt, and then they burst out multiple shriekers. Or maybe just one shrieker. And then as a shrieker eats, it spits out other shriekers.
I think it's like 3 to 6 for a graboid.
Yeah, 3,
Yeah.
yeah. And then they birth more as they eat.
Yeah.
Until one of them is full enough that it then becomes the ass blaster.
Guess that's
Or
it, yeah.
each of them, basically, the survivors,
Yeah.
basically grow wings and then fly and lay the eggs somewhere else.
Yeah.
So the idea of a graboid is it hunts from sound, and then it sees with heat when it's trying to multiply. Basically, it scouts with the ground ones, and they find them, and they protect the eggs. And then once they find them, then they let out the big ones on the surface, and those ones fuck them up and eat them, and then they go and transfer somewhere else and birth again.
Right.
And that's pretty much the life cycle. We said we don't want to fuck with that because that's the vibe. But what we thought was island.
Yes.
So, if we're going to do pirates, the first questions is, what year are we going to do it? And who is going to be on the crew and why? So we said we want to have one central location. So are we going to do one boat? Is that the central location? Or is that the place where shit goes wrong and they have a camp on the island?
Yeah, I think it would have to be like closer to a camp, like a pirate haven, sort
like
of.
a cove?
Yeah. And yeah, they definitely have them exploring, like...
Like maybe they're searching for a treasure on the island?
Ooh, I just saw something. A tidal... Like, tides come in and out. So the graboids, like, move around the island, like, between the islands, like, at low tide.
Ooh.
And at high tide, that's when they're, like, they're stuck on these islands.
That's a great idea, because then you could add a ticking clock of, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense, because then, like, they can go in the water, but they're vulnerable in the water.
Right, yeah.
So they go under the water on the ground. But the question is, why do they need high or low tide if they can just dig underground? Like, isn't the ground there? Or maybe it's the sand?
Yeah.
Like, something about how the tide moves, it moves the sand in place?
Could do that, yeah.
Because, like, they move through dirt. They don't move through sand.
Mostly, yeah.
It's always soft dirt. Like, they can't move through rocks.
Right.
So maybe the outside, like, the sea floor is rocky?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's bedrock to beach.
Well, because the idea is that a ass blaster flew to an island and laid an egg there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like there was an ass blaster out there, and it kept flying, and then it landed on an island, laid a bunch of eggs, and died. So you can get an ass blaster skeleton. That's cool. And then they were looking for a treasure, and in the process, because it's always their fault, they heated it up. Maybe
Right.
like it was hidden in a cave, and then when they broke open the cave to like let their ship in, maybe like it's a cove where they can put their ship.
Yeah.
I think that works a lot too, because if it's like in a mountain, then that is really cool. Like, you know, that like Goonies pirate cove.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like
Imagine that, but with tremors going through.
Yeah.
And then like the ship goes out in the ocean, but it's already like gets crushed before it makes it out, so you don't have to worry about them jumping in and out of water.
Right.
Because it's underground already.
Yeah, I like that.
So like, it's like so they could park their boat in the mountain, and that's what fucks them. Because their boat is in this cove mountain thing, like this cave.
Oh yeah.
So that's why it gets fucked. So like they can go from island to island with this boat in the beginning, and then at the end, like when it gets destroyed, it's because that's where that is.
Yeah, like one
And
of the crew like takes the treasure. And it's like, so long, suckers. And then like as he's like leaving the cave, there's a cave in.
Yeah, it collapses.
Graboid.
Yeah, it destroys the ship.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, that's how you can start. Because in a lot of them, there's more people at first, and then there's like nobody.
Right. Yeah.
So like the idea of like there's a whole ship of people, and then the whole ship gets destroyed. And like a fantastical thing, like one of them flies through the ship, and you can get like like a whole ship getting collapsed, and then it blows up.
Yeah.
So the question is, why are they there, and they're all from the same ship then, right?
Yeah.
So that's why there's like this disparate element of group, because in the other ones it was because they all lived in the same town. So in this one it's like, oh, we're all on the same crew, but they still don't really know each other, and that's usually the thing. So we got a group of pirates on a ship. So it's a pirate cove, and then an island with the high tide, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we got to talk about characters, right?
Yep.
So I want a Bert. I want a Chang. There's always a family of Changs.
Kind of. Or
when they should, maybe we should just do one Chang.
Yeah. Yeah. One. I feel like with Bert, we kind of would have to respect the fact that, I don't know, no offense to Michael Gross, but I think he's getting older. So if like I would have him be like the kind of like a kooky, like Dad follows you or something.
Yeah, like he's the guy who warns them.
Right. Yeah.
Or like, well, I could see him as like a salty old pirate captain.
Yeah.
Like this is his last one.
Right.
You can really play up that this is his last movie by being like, this is my last voyage.
Yeah. Something like that. Just like, like, just have it where
he could die.
Yeah, exactly. Have it where it's not like he's doing like crazy backflips or anything. Like he spends most of his time at a table talking about maybe fondling his like prized firearm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
He's got one of them like fucking crazy guns that are from like the Renaissance, where they're like really over the top gun. Where it's got like 17. It's like a revolver, but it has like 17 bullets in it.
Right.
So I'm gonna put 17 shooter revolver.
I just had a thought, a sword fight with maybe a graboid or maybe a shrieker or something.
Oh my god, yes, sword fights. These sword fights, the tongue.
No, yeah, there we go. And
that's jumping the shark levels of ridiculous.
It's pretty bad, and I don't know if you were like
just to show how smart they really are.
Yeah. Just that would be like, yeah, like
You could do it and then be like, it's a dream because it's so ridiculous.
Something like that. Honestly, I think I would just like film that just for the sheer value. Like, it doesn't even have to be in the movie, but by God, just film that for the fun of it.
Oh my god, yeah. I just the idea of 3 swords in the mouth of a graboid attacking a man and he's like being eaten by it while he fights it. He's like blocking it in front of him on his left and then his right and then like low.
Yeah.
And like one of them nips his leg and it's like, oh shit, they have 3 tongues.
Yeah. But it's played like a classic duel, just like, yeah, it cuts him and it's like, aha, well played.
Yeah, and they do like the steps and it's just you just see him and then it cuts to the graboid's mouth.
Yeah.
Dude, I almost don't want to do any other creature. Just do the graboid and don't do any of the evolutions almost.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
I mean, you could play with like an old ass blaster.
Well, maybe.
Like because what happens to those? You know, do they age out? Like they don't evolve anymore, so they just protect the egg.
Yeah.
So can they get really fat? Like they like to overeat and then fall asleep. So is it like a dragon?
Well, it could be. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
They're called dirt dragons in the prequel.
Yeah, but that's just like, you know.
I know that's just the nickname or whatever, but
yeah.
I just like a really fat ass blaster could be something like it's
that
guarding
could be
the treasure.
fun. Yeah.
Or the treasure is like its skeleton or something.
Oh yeah. My assumption would just be like the treasure was the eggs. You know,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And then they even find it and they close. Like I like the idea of the ending being they have a treasure chest with eggs in it.
Oh yeah.
And like they go eventually down to the valley.
Yeah.
And like found the town.
Right. Yeah.
Like you never see the town founded. You see when the town started, which was we're gonna open a mine for a bunch of money, but the that doesn't mean that that's the origin of the whole place. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Or even just like this is the middle of nowhere. Nobody would ever suspect here, and like that's where they bury their treasure.
Something like that, yeah. It could be passed down generations. That's right.
Yeah, that too. You could just have him holding the chest at the end. And then,
yeah.
But I do like the idea of they get away with a chest full of eggs.
Yeah.
Like 4 eggs in the chest, and then just to sort of set up the idea of like, oh, that's how it got over there, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Bert. So old man Bert.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
And then I definitely want Chang to be a pirate.
Yeah.
I just think that's a good idea. Well, okay, so I want America in there somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
So are we gonna do Revolutionary War or Civil War?
Probably Revolutionary. Like pirates would be closer to that.
Yeah. Or maybe like early American Navy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think of like the start of pirates around then. Like where like I don't think it should be like it's Independence Day when it starts.
Yeah.
Unless we want to go full ham and it's like 1776 and it like shows a chest with the eggs in it leaving Washington's house.
Yes, let these eggs represent our nation's freedom.
And then it's lost in the ocean to pirates. But no, I think that's a little bit too much.
Yeah, that'd be a bit much.
In the last one, it was 1845. That's what it said on the coin.
Right.
So 1805, 40 years before that.
Okay.
If we're going to stick with the 40-year cycle, you know? Even though that's not really a thing because they just have to get hot.
Right, yeah.
But 1800s, perfect. So 1800s Pirate Cove. So when was the Civil War? Do you remember when
that was? 1865, I think. I mean, Blackbeard and those pirates were like 1700 or 1710 or something. Just like, you know.
Yeah, like the golden age of piracy.
Yeah.
But there's still pirates around at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Godzilla, 1780.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So fuck it, let's do 1800 because
All
I
right.
want to have an American veteran.
Okay, yeah.
So who should be the veteran? Chang shouldn't be because Chang's family are immigrants in
Yeah,
1845.
yeah, they're
So
Chinese.
he's from China. We gotta have that.
Yep,
So he's Chinese pirate.
a long way from home, aren't you?
But you know, part of me wants to make Chang a merchant,
Okay, yeah,
just because his family are always merchants in the story.
yeah.
So you know, fuck it, merchant Chang.
Could be his ship, which yeah is meant for more merchant work, but you know he had to like
Well, there could be like two ships because like there's the pirate ship in the cove, right,
right.
where the treasure was, and then there's their ship that they came on.
Okay, yeah, that could work.
Like maybe not even have them be pirates. Maybe there's like I feel like pirate is a little too over top. Like they're looking at pirates. Pirates always feel old, so maybe it's better to even have them be because they're always down on their luck. Maybe having them be like they are like archaeologists in the group.
Actually, I don't know. I'm still leaning towards pirates, and maybe play it kind of like a Long John Silver, where like the crew.
Oh, there's pirates on a regular ship.
Yeah, yeah, and then
It's like a mutinous crew of pirates.
yeah, exactly. Maybe you're led by Burt Gummer.
Yeah. Or you could even have Burt Gummer be like the guy that gets thrown off the ship.
Oh yeah,
Like he's the captain that gets betrayed because then you could have the cool moment of like we kill him because like this is my final voyage and then he dies and it's like he was just gonna retire and then he shows up
yeah,
like you think he's gone the whole movie and then in the end he just like riding in on a fucking dolphin or some shit like just like
Yep.
like he was in a rowboat as the ship burned or some shit
right.
and then like you see him show up later
Could do that. Yeah,
because you don't need him in the whole movie then.
yeah,
You could even do like it's his son like it's a young Burt Gummel
right.
as the main guy. And like Burt Gummel is like passing the torch. But yeah, I like the idea of like it's a regular ship with like immigrants and merchants on it.
Yeah.
So okay, Merchant Chang, he's on a merchant ship heading for an island.
Yep. Do, 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 do. Yep.
Maybe they're not even heading for the island. Maybe the mutiny crew is the ones that bring them to the island.
Yeah.
So like they're a regular merchant crew, and then they stop at this island. They're like, "Why are we here?" And there's sort of a slow reveal of like, "Oh, the crew mutinied them and brought them there." Because you want to spend most of the story in the place. Because that's how the regular movies go, right? It's like
Yeah.
there's usually like a bombastic intro sometimes, so you could do the mutiny as that. Like you just think of like you see a pirate story where it's like Long John Silver style story where like you're on a ship and it's like, oh, the ship's being overrun, blah 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 blah, run, get to the island over there, right?
Yep.
And then it just like title slam Tremors. It's like a really serious like pirate like mutiny movie where like the ship's being taken over and he's like, I'm the captain now, and he like throws Burt Gummel off overboard and then like they all like get in rowboats to the island and like the ship's burning and then it's like Tremors. So who is the bad guy? That is the question then. It's the Tremors, right? But you need like
Yeah, you need a human element. Yeah.
you need a sleazy businessman.
Yes.
And I think that's what the pirate crew would be.
Right. Yeah.
Like you can play them as like sleazy dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what a pirate is. He's just a sleazy businessman in the water.
Yeah, maybe play it up where like the crew is like your typical like eye patch wearing like hook hand, but then the leader is like a powdered wig, like tries to fancy himself up.
Yeah, like an Englishman who's like a very rich English, the man who funded the trip.
Right.
Like, is that too much like 4 though with like a hoity-toity rich guy?
Well, I mean, he'll be playing it as the villain, so I don't know.
What if we play up the America even a little bit more?
Yeah.
And we do Louisiana River Tugboat Man, like voice, like Southern American like rich man.
Virginian plantation owner.
Yeah, like he's the guy who funded the trip,
Okay.
like a Colonel Sanders.
Okay, that could work. Yeah.
Because then like I could see Burt Gummel being that guy, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the idea of like tugboat, like, you know, Louisiana Man. Because I love the idea of seeing a bunch of pirates with hooks and shit, and then like Louisiana Man is in charge.
Just saunters off deck, just like, well.
Yeah, you just see like a peg leg hit the ground, and then you see a guy, a fancy shoe hit the ground after the peg leg, and he's like, well, I'm walking down here.
Yep.
Just like hear pirate shanties, and then just like some dude from Louisiana walks out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that guy, and he's going to be the guy that gets killed, right?
Of course, yes.
Part of me wants to say the redhead woman, that's the random redhead woman, maybe she could be Gummer's daughter.
Okay.
Because there is that weird thing going on where, like, Bert's family always has, like, redheaded women in it.
Yeah.
And they're always, like the idea that, like, his first girl, the girl in the prequel is redheaded, and then they have kids, and then his wife is redheaded. And it's clearly the idea that, like, there's, like, a deep-seated attractiveness to redheads in his family.
I guess so.
So, like, of course his daughter would have red hair. Also, that explains why she's on the ship, because usually women wouldn't be on ships.
Oh, yeah.
So the explanation would be that she's his daughter, and she, like, snuck on board or something.
Right.
Okay, so far, we got Merchant Chang, Old Man Gummer, Rich Oil Tycoon Man. Yeah, we need, like, 2 more people. Who else do you want to add in here, then? Maybe one of the pirates should be probably be one of them. Like, one of the main cast.
Yeah.
Because, like, what's the guy in 2? What's his name?
Earl.
Do you remember what his last name is?
Bassett, I think.
Swabby Bassett. Okay, so here's the lineup we have right now. Old Man Gummer is the captain of a merchant ship in the beginning of the movie. And then the rich oil tycoon man who's funding the whole trip has the pirates take over. All right, the ship is mine. Take over, boys. And then the pirates come out and they take over everything. They go in a rowboat maybe and get away, right? Chang, the young redheaded woman who is his Gummer's daughter, Gummer, and this swabby pirate dude. So, like, the guy who was cleaning up, he got on the boat with them, and he's actually a pirate, you know. And then you got the Louisiana Tycoon and his pirates. So we got something there, right?
Right.
So which one of these people is going to be the main character? Part of me wants it to be Chang or the woman, the Gummer's kid.
Right.
So do we want it to be Bert? Bert's ship gets taken over, and then him and his daughter leave, and then it's actually about the daughter.
Yeah, that could work.
And then Chang and the Swabby are just kind of in the boat when it happens.
Yeah.
Or better yet, do we want the whole group together, or do we want to separate them and have, like, 2 of them on the ship with the pirates and 2 of them on land? Because, like, there's always that cutback, right, between the main base and the people scouting, right?
Right.
So maybe the main base is the pirate crew, and then the people scouting is Bert and the girl.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, they get on a rowboat and leave the ship because they've been ousted. Because, like, it's his ship and her daughter. No, she's his daughter. So, like, they get out on the rowboat with a couple of other people that we can kill. And then the other ones are in the ship. And then the ship pulls into the cove. And then it's like, all right, we're going to look for the treasure. And in the process, now graboids are coming out. Do we want to start with them already on the ship, or we want to show them make the decision to join the ship? Because there's always a buy-in in the movies where it's like, I am deciding to do this.
Right.
And then because they join, then they're stuck, then they're in it. And then they have to make a second decision to stay.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, in this movie, the second decision to stay would be they get another boat, and then they're like, we got to stay and stop these things. So, like, the first decision would be we got to join. Also, because you get to see their comeuppance when it's like, we're going to join this merchant crew. And he's like, I don't know if I trust this. Like, you can see the people, like, they don't know if they should join, and then they do it anyway because there's extra money.
Right.
Bert, right? Like Bert has a pirate ship, right? He was a merchant,
Right.
and he's retired now, but he needs money. So then this tycoon comes in and he's like, "Hey, I'll pay you a bunch of money if you take your ship out." Maybe something like that, and then halfway through they take over. All right, it is getting kind of late.
Yeah.
I would rather have all 15 beats done, but whatever, we can come back with it.
Yeah, sure.
So far what we got is the premise, the characters, their motivations, and the opening. And the movie's ultimately about her earning her father's respect and learning from her father to be better than him, to be less arrogant, and to not just plan ahead, but to know when not to plan ahead, I guess. The end. And as always, thanks for listening. Bye.